Hey friends, it's Spencer with Bitbird, and you're listening to The Encouragers.
About it, but you've been about it.
Right. Super. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's so big. I'm still trying to figure it all out. So,
That's the problem, huh? It's just trying to where to start. Well, first of all, like where to start, and then where to go from there because the influx of information is so big right now. And you hear people talking about it, but immediately you hear people talking about it, and there's no room for a beginner almost because
yeah,
they're already speaking in a language that's not you're not going to be as a beginner, you're not going to be fluent in any of the terms, right? Even like blockchain, you know, people
right,
don't know what that means. Immediately, you'll see their eyes glaze over.
right. It's super. It's weird. It's exciting though, but it's weird.
It is weird because it's something that you own, but you don't have it in your hand.
Right.
So that's just the hard part for me to grasp. But I guess it's easier for you, Jake, because you do crypto.
I mean, I'm in the same boat there. Like the problem there is there's so much stuff now already that it's hard to understand what's going on, because if you just keep it basic and everybody knows about Bitcoin right now, right? So that's the basic one everybody knows about, but Bitcoin might not even be the future. And
Right.
your bro probably would understand that it may be Ethereum, right? Like an Ethereum, reason why Ethereum is part of the gas fees that go along, and it's backing all of the altcoins in the virtual reality worlds and their games. It's backing the value of the NFTs, although there may be some conversions going on to other altcoins too. But a lot of that's backed by Ethereum, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ethereum's like is the crypto right after Bitcoin as for like transactions and stuff like that. So it's just like anything else in the free market. You know what I mean? Like I tell people all the time, when we talk about I'm in the car business, and so I get customers, when I'm pitching them a service contract or a warranty to buy on the vehicle they're buying on it. I relate the car to, hey, do you remember when the Motorola Razr phone came out? It was like the coolest phone, right? It's like, oh,
Right.
it's a very tiny phone, and I was like, would you own a Motorola Razr phone right now? And they'd be like, no, it's outdated. It's not necessarily exactly. And it's the same thing with cars, same thing with everything else. It's just that's how far we are. You know what I mean? With it. And so, I think everything else with like you're talking about with like, altcoins and stuff like that. The trick on this is going to be to find which one's going to be the next Bitcoin. Because just like free market, they all alternate. You know what I mean? They all
Right.
move, and people make the monies where they look. You know what I mean? They bet on the horse that nobody else, sees the potential, and the next, that horse is a champion winner, and they paid pennies, and the return on investment's crazy. I still remember Bitcoin, man, when it was coming out on it. Actually, I'm in Boise right now. I actually had a customer that bought two cars, and he bought his second car last year, and he had to transfer bitcoins over there. But he owns like this little used computer shop out here in Boise, and he had those. He had a basically in his computer shop upstairs had big old mining facility, right? Mining for bitcoins on there, and you tell me like his electricity bill was super crazy and stuff like that. And he showed me like he showed me, he's like, yeah, this is your Bitcoin debit card, and he was transferring it out, and then obviously it went up again, it kept going up. I was like, I would always think about that, like, dang man, if you would have kept that, like, you know what I mean, instead of just taking money out of there and just taking out a traditional loan instead of trying to pay cash for a car. I was like, he lost out on future growth of what the difference was from there to when he bought the car. You know what I mean? Still has a
Right.
ton, But yeah, I always think about that when they talk about Bitcoin. I'm like, dang, I wonder what that guy's up to on it. But
See, that's tough, right? Because you look at the initial investment of crypto, you look at the investment in a car, which is a depreciating asset, and you almost want to cry to
yeah,
see what one could turn into the other. The other one is ultimately crypto is going to go, it has such, I would just say for the average person as they understand it, because it's decentralized, meaning that it's like backed by the people, right?
yeah,
And it's not controlled by one bank. I think we need to explore, we need to probably explain some of these terms as we go for those that have never, dove down this rabbit hole of what crypto is and NFTs. But so it's backed by the people, so the people control it. So that means each person essentially owns a part of it, right?
yeah,
Versus your bank owning everything and control and being the controlling interest. And that's what draws people. We've talked about this, a lot on in our chat and on our podcast before too. But people are just tired of being controlled by media, by by powerful corporations, by an income that doesn't reflect cost of living and inflation and all those things. So this is very attractive to people, is finding another way to have a controlling interest in where their life is going to go, and they can make money doing it.
yeah. And I also think that stocks are just boring for this generation, right? I mean, I was watching this reel where Elon was talking about, I didn't really like Warren Buffett and how boring his life must be because the way he looks at stocks is different, and and it's very safe and it's very, and he really vets you him versus, you look at where his generation is, and he's, what I mean. You hear about Elon's story where he sold PayPal and and he made 180 million, and he threw 100% of that back into the next business, which was Tesla, right? And now look at him now, and it's like, that's something that people in Warren Buffett's generation wouldn't do on it. And again, they dealt with he's probably got to see the crash and stuff like that, so they're all, that generation is a little bit different with it. But I think kind of where it's at right now when I look at crypto and how things and NFTs, it just seems like this generation's just, they know they're not planning for retirement down the road. They're like, let's go all in, let's figure this out right now, and they're willing to risk it all. And it's okay to go sleep on someone's couch for a while if I got a, if I got a shot thinking I'm going to double up on this, with it. But you look at a lot of it, all the gambling sites and stuff like that. You just look around, it's like, it's crazy, you know, all the coins that you can buy and send coins to people on Facebook and stuff like that. It's just like, it's just kind of weird where it's going to go on it. I think there's so much upside, like that, obviously some stuff that we think is cool now will probably be outdated. You know what I mean? Like they'll grow only so much, and then they'll stay, right? They'll stay in their comfort zone, and then new
Right.
ideas come in, and they'll just surpass them. Boom, 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 and it's just going to be crazy with it.
So that leads me to then a question for the NFT space, because you have predictions, right? That well, my personal opinion, I think NFTs are going to hold a place and be insanely popular and valuable as we go forward. And some people doubt; they think it's just going to be a passing trend. I've read some
Right.
articles where they think it's going to go. I think it's going to be more of maybe a slight combination. There's going to be a place for NFTs with specifically, I think, really good artists in the gaming space, and just those main two off the top of my head. Maybe in the retail space as well, the virtual retail space. I see those three places taking off. I just kind of wanted to get your take on that, and if you see more spaces opening up, like maybe in the card trading world or other spaces.
Yeah, I think yeah, obviously like gaming and stuff like that. That probably be one of the bigger ones, but I think it's more wider than that. You know what I mean? I think even actual businesses, right? Because if we go into where this is at, all businesses, right? Like like the company, where I work, they're going to try to figure out where the eyeballs, where the customers are, and they'll find a way to adapt to it. So I think everything will be that way. I think, I was watching this guy that sold an actual vehicle that was an NFT, but you actually got the title to the vehicle. You know what I mean? That was in there. It was super weird. It's like, wow. You know what I mean? I saw this crazy one where, this I think she was like a model or something in Europe in there, but she was NFTing access to her eggs. Right. So it's like, it's so crazy. Like no one knows where it's going to go. Like right now, everyone's just throwing stuff at the wall and everyone's trying to see what sticks. And then what sticks, I think, will have their own strains that will go, with it. But, I think NFTs it's just so wide. I think anyone that has a following or a business, right, you can NFT anything for your people. Right. So the people that follow encouragers, right, on there, you could put NFTs out there for it, and people that follow and be like, dude, I want that, I want that, I want that. And I think putting out NFTs helps build any business brand too, right? Because then you got actual people, like you talk about decentralized, you got people that actually have some type of ownership in the product that they enjoy, right? And then you just keep doubling up and you put new things out there, and then next people are trading that, right? You know what I mean? You get newer fans, you get loyal fans, you get your other fans, and now they're just, you know what I mean? They're trading stuff, and eventually it'll just work its way up. I think NFT is going to be crucial to building your brand in the future. I think it doesn't matter what you're doing. I think NFT is you're gonna have to know the lingo with NFT to be able to survive in the business going forward, right? Just like how before newspapers were like the thing, right? And it's like nobody pays for newspaper now. Like it's dead. It's a dead. If you didn't transfer to digital space and you're a marketing agency, no one's gonna spend money on advertising on newspapers, right?
Right.
And so I don't know. I think it's very interesting where it can all go,
So I'm still lost. I really don't know what an NFT is.
So let's start at the basics then, because if you look at my, can you see my screen, Tech?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, I see it. Non-fungible token.
Okay. So we can start there, and I'll let I'll let you, Spencer, kind of lead the way here, as far as that. But my understanding of non-fungible token is it's a unique, it would be like the Mona Lisa, right? That would be like the original Mona Lisa that's not been copied. That's a non-fungible token. It's one of a kind. There's nothing else like it, and so you can create that in the digital space as well.
Yeah. What makes it the that non-fungible token is your blockchain code, right? So that's how that makes a difference from you screenshotting a Mona Lisa versus you actually having a Mona Lisa.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, it's NFT, but it's just like what makes Bitcoin. It's this, it's the uniqueness of each coin, and so you can blockchain and tie that to any piece of art. So if you own the Mona Lisa, you can tie it to it, and everybody can pull their phones out and says, who has Mona Lisa? Everybody can pull it out, but then you still be able to point out and say, no, I own Mona Lisa, and you be able to prove it. And that's the difference with it, is being able to say, oh, I own that.
So talk about that a little bit then for us. So what blockchain would you go to, for example, to create that and then have ownership in it?
So I only mess with Ethereum right now. On there, it's the strongest one. Yeah, the gas, the gas fees are super high, but I think my mindset with it is, it's it is what it is, right? So it's just like when you own a car and gas is $4 a gallon. It is what it is, right? With it, and so you kind of, for me, that's just kind of jumping in it with everything else. That's the biggest mover right now, so I'm going to stay with the biggest mover and kind of see where things are at, because like we talked about, there's other there's other altcoins and that you can use that have different gas fees or less of them. But I think if you don't know kind of where that's at, you can lose a lot too. So I think anyone jumping in there, I think Ethereum is just it's held itself well. I think that's where that's where, it's the safest bet.
So what platform are you using? Is it like a .io somewhere, or is there a certain, because there's different platforms out there where you can create NFTs, right? So which
Yeah,
one are you using?
OpenSea.
OpenSea. Okay.
Yeah, so OpenSea right now is kind of like the Facebook of it, I would say, like the MySpace of it, and that's where a lot of the big transactions are on there. It's also good too, like if for someone that's trying to understand this space and kind of like what everyone's doing, it's good to see, all the different art and the different things that's transacting there with it. So there's a lot of big movers in there, and like in the crypto world, there's a lot of the guys that are the top ones, they call them whales, and so they're like the big ones in the sea that kind of run. And so there's some big hitters that's out there, like crypto punks on there. If the easiest way that I kind of learn is I follow Gary Vee, and he likes to simplify a lot of the stuff for people that's kind of like, dude, what is that on there? So Gary Vee is a great resource. He usually posts something every day that's related to that. You can also go to YouTube and kind of search him. He can kind of speak it very plain so that you can kind of grasp. And that's how I learned. I followed Gary Vee for a long time. When he started talking about NFTs and stuff like that, that's when it kind of piqued my curiosity, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna start digging in and kind of seeing what that's all about.
Okay, so if we break it down to like the simplest, you go to OpenSea, for example, you create an account, right? Then you also create an Ethereum wallet with with one of the Ethereum wallets that are out there. So
Like
basically
a mask.
a MetaMask. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you connect that to OpenSea, right?
Yeah.
And then you buy some Ethereum.
Yep.
You have some art. I use this one as an example here in my background for those that are
Nice.
going to be watching this here. But that's my favorite one of yours so far that I like. We
Nice.
talk about pyramids quite a bit. I just thought it was a really dope design that you had. So you make your art, right? And then in the process of uploading it to OpenSea, you pay your Ethereum gas fees, which give this a unique number, which then inherently gives it its value at that point. If someone were to try and buy it from you, right?
Actually, it's a little bit more simpler. So the gas fees, a lot of those transact when you sell.
Okay.
So you'll pay, like you talk about, you'll set up a wallet on there. So MetaMask, and they tie in with OpenSea. And so what you'll do is, after you set up your wallet and you buy some, like me, I bought Ethereum on there. It connects straight to my OpenSea account that's on there. And so, I'd say, depending on what you're trying to do, maybe it's a couple $100 to just set up initially. And then you can plug all your art, but they won't charge you until you sell it, which is roughly about 2%, 2.5% of whatever it is. And it just transacts off Ethereum, or whatever it is, you'll get offers and things like that.
Okay, so let's talk about your art a little bit. Where do you get is really kind of off the top of your head, or using a program, or using OpenSea for ideas from your art, or you have your own art program on your computer? How do you come up with your ideas and the art you make for it?
Art is so when I was little, growing up, we got into graffiti on it. So you know what I mean? Growing up in graffiti, and you know what I mean? It just, yeah, I think everyone likes art, and so it just kind of depends with that. And then also, experiences and things like that you had growing up. And so a lot of my art's just tied to things that's, that I love and that I like on there. And there's a ton of different programs you can use out there. Also, Apple has a really good program too for their iPad Pro, that you can use. But there's a ton of different things, and it doesn't have to be just that art that you can create. You can NFT photos, right?
Okay.
So that's the next big wave. Is, I can take, you talk about Mona Lisa and things like that. Well, what makes them value? You know what I mean? Is, people value, that kind of art. You can do the same thing here. You can, if you're into photography or whatever it is, you can take pictures and NFT those, and people will buy the rights and ownership for that on there. So for people that's like, hey, I'm not really into art, but I'm into, posting a lot of, cool pictures on my Instagram, stuff like that. Well, cool. You know what I mean? A lot of people, they're like, hey, let's just get money off of Instagram for being an influence. No, man, you can do that too. But why don't you go and, put on Instagram, but, go set up a wallet and account and throw it in this pool too, for all the people that want ownership of it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I see it as a multiple places where you can put all your stuff, so that you can try to maximize the most for your brand or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish.
Was that were you influenced by Built Lewis art growing up at all too, or
Yeah.
did you influence him?
Bill was always the artist in the whole crew, and he's, I was always the little guy that
Shout out to Bill.
always hung out with the older cousins. So they were all, a couple of years older than me. But yeah, back in the days, I used to, me and Bills, we used to always run around, backpacks and markers, and we'd go hit up the streets in Reno all the time. So, but yeah, that was, that was kind of the thing during that time. You know what I mean? Just like when I was younger, it was Pogs, right? And then so you just kind of grow up when middle school hit, everybody in middle school tagged. You know what I mean? So it was kind of things. It was tag and it was breakdance. You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, it kind of, I got lucky because I actually, had a cousin that actually did graffiti, so I got to hang out on there. But yeah,
I mean,
built
you
out.
could definitely see the skill transfer to some of the stuff you're doing now, and that's probably only like a small portion, what you show us on your Instagram page. But it's just, it's cool to see how those skills transfer for you.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun. And actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I've been talking with, so we used to have a little crew out there in Reno. It was called Kirby Crew, and that was kind of like our graffiti and our, you know what I mean. And obviously, we got to meet up when we had church functions and stuff like that. We'd use that time to go and go do, stuff like tag and stuff like that. But I talked to Bill, and we have another cousin named Ula that you know what I mean. We want to, he wants to get into the NFT space too. So there's gonna be some collaborations with Bill Lewis Art and Bitbird on there, and I'm super excited for that because he's got a lot of talent, and so to be able to see what we can put our minds together and see what we can do in this space, I think is going to be amazing.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of piggybacking a little bit off of what you said earlier. So you can just take a picture of some things. So it could be, let's say, you also deal with in the card game as well, as far as like Pokemon and sports cards. So if you were to, in theory, draw like a one of one, really, really valuable card, you could essentially create a digital copy of that, or is there any type of copyright issue with that?
I think again, like I said, I think it's very new still, and I think there's a lot of things that you can do. I think let's say if I had a one-on-one, I think there will be some copyright stuff that's there. So let's say if I had a one-on-one and I wanted to NFT it, like I talked about with the car that the guy used as a NFT, you know what I mean? I basically sell shares or portions of the actual physical card. So the way to think about it is stocks, right?
Yeah.
So I basically take it and I'd stock it for people. And I think that would actually be, I think that would be crazy, right? Because it's a one of one. So it's like
Right.
someone's never going to, whoever has it's probably never going to sell it unless the price is right. Whoever buys it's, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? The price would be so crazy that a lot of people won't be able to get their hands to buy it. So, I think, like let's say if you have a business or a brand and you got a one of one, this is something that I think I would do is I would, you know what I mean? I'd broker out what the value was, break it down into the shares, and then, turn it into an NFT, put it out there, and then just let people go crazy with it. And I
Right.
think doing that too, I think eventually probably will skyrocket the one of one price. I think there's more upside that way versus someone just having a card. And
Right.
that's what's crazy to me, right? Because we're like, dude, what are you talking about? You have a one of one card, like the actual card on there. But I think with what everyone's interested in and kind of moving towards, I think that you know what I mean? I think the values in the actual physical card can shoot up where you can still, as a physical owner, because the way that it works with NFT, when you transact, you can set up royalties for yourself, right?
Hmm.
So, you know, some people, you know, they do 20% or 10% every time that they transact. The actual originator of that piece gets a transaction piece every single time that changes hands with it. And so you just think about, you know, if you had, you know, if a card was worth 10 grand as a one of one, and you put 10 spots out there at $1,000 a piece, you know what I mean? You know, I could just see it transacting so much where you'd make that money over time and still have the card, and you know what I mean? It's just something that's sitting there that's just gaining
Hmm.
income, passive income. I don't know. It's super crazy, kind of like what this can all turn into.
Right. And for those that are maybe like doubting, or it's just not connecting, you just think of, so people have sports memorabilia and cards in their houses now, right? And the way it's moving, you look at Facebook and why they changed their name, but like what we're doing now is probably going to become more and more and more and more common. So people are going to be hanging out in the virtual world. So their own, their apartment's going to be a virtual apartment. They'll invite their friends over virtually. Uh, you know, you're going to have augmented glasses and virtual reality sets that are going to become so good. Like the detail that they were, you're going to be able to walk, you're going to be in 4K in the virtual world. And they're going to continue to improve on that. So just thinking like ahead of time where someone could hang a one of one card in their, in their virtual, but they're, that's where they're hanging. You look at gamers right now, gamers hang out virtually every day with their gamer friends all the time. That's like that's, if you've played a specific game, whether it be like Halo or, Call of Duty, or, there's a lot of different kind of games. There's a lot of PC games out there, right? So, sometimes they know their gamer friends better than they know, their neighbors.
It's true.
Or they have their gamer friends. I'll give you an example. I was an old school Halo player, and I have friends from, I have friends that, from 10, 15 years ago that, I still see online occasionally. And they've like bought in a couple houses. They were single at the time. Now they have kids. They've been married for like 10 years, so you see that space continue to grow, and the technology is almost there. You look at, my background is a little bit of 5G, and 5G, you're talking, 5G is processing 2 gig per second speeds over the cellular network. So we're on the way there. The edge to edge computing is kind of where that, that space. So it's gonna get that good. Like before we can, blink a few times, that virtual space is gonna become almost uh, indistinguishable from real life in some ways. I don't know necessarily if that is. I think can be used for good, right? But um, whether or not you think it's good or bad, that's where it's going. So
Yeah.
you might as well make money off of it.
So it'll be
So
like that movie Ready Player One.
Did you watch it, Tech?
Yeah, I just seen it the other day just to see what you guys were talking about.
So now huh?
Yeah.
It's too scary accurate. And they were ahead of the time because that movie's now a couple years old. Spencer, you seen that movie?
I watched part of it, but yeah, I got the concept of what that movie was, and it's yeah, it's crazy. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, it's going to be super crazy, and and just imagine, walking down the street or something like that, and being able to wear those glasses and see people that have the different skins, or the, you know what I mean, the shoes or stuff like that. That's what's
Right.
crazy. And that's what's big when you play games, you know what I mean? When you play Call of Duty, or you play all these different ones, there's certain skins or weapons that come over X amount of
Mm.
achievement that you have to, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that dude killed, he had a juggernaut killed, 30 people in a row or whatever it is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they have these badges. And so those are already built into the game system. But now it's like, no, what if it's like, you know, doing VR in real life, like you're in the game, but it's in the real world, right?
Hmm.
And that's what's going to be super crazy. You know what I mean? Like we talked about, in the business that someone can, what I mean, go into, let's say dealerships, right? So the newest thing that kind of came out obviously was like Carvana or something like that, where you can buy a car, not really talk to a salesperson, and you know what I mean, or get it delivered to you, and you can drive it for 2 weeks and see if you like it or not. But what if it goes into this digital space and it's like, you know what I mean? You just you have these glasses, you sit in your house and you can put it in, and you can actually experience a whole car. Like, driving the car, like they simulate all that for you. And then you're like, cool, I want this one. And you can buy it from there. Like that's kind of what's probably going to happen with everything. So, I think it's super exciting. There's a lot of unknowns, but I think there's gonna be a lot of cool things that happen. And you talked about it, you know what I mean? You talked about the 5G network, right? People forget about the 5G, and you know what I mean, even look at how TVs are now with the 4K and all that in there. It's like we're going there. We just don't notice it that much because it's little by little, right? But if you were to sit back and look at the kind of phone you had when you were in middle school and the kind of phone you have now, it's like, that's a huge gap. That's where we're at, and it's happening. And so, yeah, you're right. The key is like, okay, well, do we just kind of let it happen, or is there an opportunity here to kind of dig in and maybe come out ahead a little bit on a lot of the things that's coming out.
Right. A big thing we talk about in our group chat is, just building some generational wealth and passive income, and to not have money be something that we have to worry about. And mainly the ultimate goal, we probably have a couple things. We want to live a life that has seemed unobtainable in some ways. I think all of us have like certain special goals, but more than anything, I think that makes you feel better is being able to like have the funds to give back and make a difference in people's lives. And I think that that's like a huge draw. I can't tell you, like, I felt so much better doing that versus like obtaining some like long goals that I sought after. And, it's always better to and I remember the times that I've given back more than anything else. So, but if this space can provide that for us, all the better, right? Is trying to come ahead, and I don't have any kids yet. I don't think tech does either, but that's something to think for your future, and to think for your family too. I think about that quite a bit. The ability to provide if needed. I think that is, a lot of us, work real hard and strive for that. So it'd be nice to accomplish that, and be able to give back where we see fit. We're all on our way there for sure,
Yeah.
especially if we can figure this out. You just so happen to be ahead of us.
Yeah, no, just you know what I mean, just trying to figure it all out with it. But yeah, I think the end goal is being able to actually have time, right? And I think that's what when those that see an opportunity and they come out ahead on it. It's not what people see or anything like that. It's actual the time, the freedom of time to wake up when you want, and and be able to go, maybe take your kids to school, or you know what I mean, or hey, I got time, I'm gonna go volunteer here. And I think that's when people feel fulfillment in whatever they're doing. They're like, they become their best versions of themselves because there's no stress to be anyone else. They can actually be their true selves, where they can be, they can go out there and say, I just want to help people today. I just want to, and so, yeah, and I think, and that's the $1 billion question, right? It's like, there's always times we look at history, there's always been monumental, points in our history where things have changed or adjusted, and a lot of people have made ahead, you know what I mean? And so, I think, is this one of those points? You know what I mean? And is it, and you know what I mean? And the opportunity is there, but how many people see that opportunity, or is how many people say, oh, I'll just catch the next bus on there.
Hmm.
I think that's kind of what's cool about that, is it puts it in your own little lane to say, oh, you can take it or not, right? And I think that was the same thing with Bitcoin, right? It's like Bitcoin's, what is it running right now for Bitcoin? Is it like 60 G's or
50,000 right now, I think.
Yeah, it's like 50,000. You know what I mean? And
It
it's just
was up over 60 and almost 70, and then it had a little drop. But you look at, what it was worth, a few years back, it was worth what, 400
yeah, like $400, and it's like
per coin.
well, sometimes in the market they do that to scare people, all the pretenders out, right?
Right.
And then all the big whales, they buy up that they buy up those shares, and so it's fun. It's a fun game on there. But yeah, I mean, you gotta. I think with even NFTs and kind of going in the future, I think at minimum, doesn't matter what you're gonna do, whether you decide to jump in and kind of see what the future is going to do, or stay with what you're doing. We all gotta have some thick skin. It's gonna be a long ride.
Tech, you got any more questions for him?
Bro, I'm just still trying to
Trying to be a
grasp what
sponge.
this what this NFT really is, because all I understand is if you have a picture or video or whatever, you get a blockchain, and that makes it an NFT.
It gives it like it's so the where it comes in is it gives its own little unique code.
Mhm.
So explain is that you get a code. So instead of having, so let's say
So
that
it'll be like its own VIN number if it's like a
yeah,
car.
yep, just VIN number, and it's
Right.
very unique, right? And so there's no other number like it, and
And
that's what.
that shows that you own that picture or whatever.
Yeah, because they give you that serial number, that VIN number on there, and they attach it to that. That's what makes that. You know what I mean? That's what makes it, legit on there, and that nobody else has that number, and that nobody can assign it that number.
Right. And Tech, we were talking about like wallet, right? So imagine your wallet right here, but imagine it's an app. Okay. So
Mhm.
that's what we were talking about for MetaMask is MetaMask is your digital wallet. So just picture your wallet, but it's an app, and you can put things of value in there. You stack the NFT goes into your wallet, right? And that's how you would transfer it out and around if someone were to buy it.
It's through wallet, MetaMask.
Then that would be the question I would have for you then, Spencer. Is it stored on OpenSea? Is it stored in your wallet? Once it gets the number, it goes in the wallet, right?
Yeah, it goes to your wallet, but you can still see it on OpenSea, like the
Okay.
own. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter because that's the other thing about digital, right? And that a lot of people were afraid of is that it records everything. So you know what I mean? You can find, you know what I mean? It's just like, if you bought a car, you can, track the title back down to who all the owner people are and the people that registered that car, right? The DMV can, you know what I mean? And so it's similar to that. It's pretty much the same thing in the digital space.
Now, earlier you said that we could take pictures and create an NFT. So what's the difference if I take a picture of a Mona Lisa and create an NFT with that?
You probably won't get people to buy it, right? With it. But I'm pretty sure there's still copyright stuff for like people's actual art, right?
Right.
And that's the thing about NFT is that it basically copyrights your art on it. So like I said, I still think there's a lot of stuff that's still unknown, right? Right? I think that's settled in. So
Where it might have value would be like if The Rock took a picture of the Mona Lisa and it was him that did it. And so somebody wanted the picture that The Rock took of Mona Lisa. Like those would be odd ways to increase value, I think, right? So it's just like because it came from a certain person, they were the ones that created it. Yeah.
Oh, that's how you tell the Rock took the pictures if he created the picture, created the NFT.
Well, that's what would give it value because someone might want it because The Rock took that picture. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because of that. So unless if you're taking a picture of original art, anybody else could do that too. So there wouldn't be necessarily demand for it. Versus if somebody that you really liked with a huge fan base did it, in a certain way, they might want it because of that, that odd reason. But more likely, you creating unique art or you owning, I don't know where this space is going to go because, like your brother was saying, there's so much unknown, but specific videos. So if you have, LeBron James dunking, and it was, you were able to obtain the rights to that, that few seconds, who knows where that space is going to go to. I think that's a little harder because the NBA just owns anything that was ever videotaped. The NBA owns the rights to it, unless it was recorded from your phone at a game or something like that. Maybe you could turn that into an NFT. That would be a more value. But that's probably where the video space would go, is if you're lucky enough to have a really good quality video at a game or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Say like 50 people take a picture of the same thing, and they all decide to make it, and they all decide to make an NFT. How does that work?
I think
They all could do it, right?
I think that's the other part of it, right? So like the NFT, right? So you talked about taking a picture of Mona Lisa, right? And you guys are also talking about
Or say
what
they
if
took a picture of just a random picture of like a bridge. Everybody took the same pictures, same angle.
it's so the way that I see NFT is it's still going to be contingent on your following, right? So it's not you know what I mean? It's not lazy like, oh, I'm just going to take a picture of this bridge and people are going to come buy it from me, right? There's also has to be a way of how you do it. So like, when you talk about Mona Lisa, the rock, right? If you wanted to start creating your own NFT, what I would recommend is saying, what if you built your NFTs that you took a picture, a selfie with Mona Lisa, but you did that for all of the high-end art. So all you did was travel and you took selfies, and what made it unique was you were in
Okay.
Right.
right. So it's not like, hey, just do art and people are just going to buy it. It's still a free market. People want to see value and they want to see a story. If you look at a lot of these NFT like CryptoPunks and a lot of these ones that in there, they have a story, right? They have a way of where they're going. It's like the way you think about it is like Darwin's evolution, right? Where you see the guy turn into a man, right? They're all strategically having a story so that when they add, hey, this is the the koala bear with the jacket and stuff like that, and they're adding the different skins. It's like playing video games. It's like being on Call of Duty and starting off or GoldenEye back in Nintendo 64, and all you had was your hand, and you're just slapping people until you killed X amount of people, and then you finally got the gun, right? It's all the same way. It's a storyline, right? So they're just taking you from the beginning, and that's how. And the people that are effective at doing that and showing that and getting people locked into their NFT or their brand, you see them, they transact a lot more than everyone else on there. So NFT just to do it, you know what I mean? I look at NFT as another tool going into the future that you can use to ramp up your brand on it. That's really what I see it as. It's not just hey, there's money over here, just start creating stuff and throw it in there and people will buy it on there. I think it's just another way. So if you have a business, look at NFTs, you know what I mean? And I think it also helps your fan base, right? It makes them more loyal and makes them more, because there's more interaction now, right? People love to engage. Like if you talk about The Rock, right? If Rock had it in there and he's engaged, and that's why Twitter was so, Twitter's Twitter, right? Because it's like, oh, dude, the guy I follow just tweeted me, right? That's no different than NFT right now, right? So it might be the new Twitter. NFT might be, Twitter might be just too old now, right? And it might just be, buying NFTs and exchanging on them. Because the other thing that you can do with NFTs, you can sell experiences, right? So people are starting to look at selling CDs or concerts and stuff. They're starting to put them in NFTs on there. So that's what I'm saying, is it's so crazy, it's so wild that you put anything your mind to. I mean, I think NFTs is gonna, until pretty much right now, everyone's just throwing everything to the wall, and some stuff is sticking and some not. But I think probably in a year now, I'll probably settle in and we'll probably understand it a lot more clear on kind of what's worked and what's not, what's kind of taboo in the NFT world.
Right. And I could see that space going into, for example, like Bidbird, and then you have like a Bidbird coin that's backed by Solera or Ethereum, if we're saying like that. And then, you know, people that come in and, you know, let's say you have a store in the future, and they come by and make a purchase, or if they join a break, you know, they get rewarded with Bidbird coins. And ultimately, if they get enough Bidbird coins, then they can perhaps buy a digital copy, or they get, you know, an original Bidbird NFT or whatever, right? So, you know,
Right.
that's a way to build your brand on the digital side of things, create engagement with your, you know, the people that like your brand and that follow your brand and purchase from you, you know, essentially through like a reward program type of thing. But you see a lot of these companies that are ahead of it making like a coin to go with their brand.
Right.
So just, you know, interesting. So with that said, tell us a little bit about, so we see Tech with the Bidbird, with the dope Bidbird hat on over there. We know you're into NFTs. Tell us a little bit more about Bidbird and where you're going with the company and what all it entails.
Yeah. So, you know, Bidbird, right? So I always tie these hashtags with it is cards, clothing, and culture, right? And so, you know, being an '80s baby and growing up, you know what I mean. Like I talked about, graffiti, hip hop, and breakdancing was kind of the thing when I was growing up, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when we'd have our school dances in middle school, you know what I mean. The cool kids were the ones that could do windmills and head spins, right? And but everything was tied to it. It wasn't just breakdancing. It was the clothes that we wore. We wore windbreakers. You know what I mean? Adidas, you know, shell toes was the shoes to get. You know what I mean? We rocked fat laces. You know what I mean? You know, Jansport backpacks were cool. You know what I mean? You know, so I think, and so kind of what you know, I'm kind of just in that space where, you know what I mean, of nostalgia, right? So I talk about pogs and I talk about a lot of those things, and the way that the merchandise is just coming in, it's just another way to tie in kind of what my passions are, right? And so, you know, me and my boys, you know, they love cards too, so we do a lot of Pokemon breaks, and we just like, you know, like to look at cards and memorabilia stuff. You know, I got a bunch of different you know, memorabilia stuff that's in there, and they're just like art, right? They're conversation pieces, right? And they're things that can tie you back to those moments, and you can share them generational, right? Kids and stuff like that. Like, hey man, do you know who this guy is? And you know, when you pull a Michael Jordan card on there, you can tell them, you know, you can remember back at that time what was going on in that time. You know what I mean? And trying to tie them back into it. So, you know, Bidbird is just you know, we do cards, we do nostalgia stuff. Like you said, the goal eventually is to actually have a brick and mortar store, to do some things. But you know, clothing is kind of the thing that we're going on right now. We're focusing, like you said, Tech's wearing the black snapback hat on there, and we're gonna really just start pushing on those and bags. So fanny and actually full size backpacks. That's kind of what we're going to go through. But you know, I think that's kind of where we're at right now as we dip into the NFT space and kind of see where that is as well.
So if someone was wondering where they could go to get your merch, to maybe order some of that stuff, where would they go to find you?
Yeah. So right now, you know, what I would say for them is just follow us on Instagram and Facebook at bid my card 2021 on there. We've leaked out some pieces on there, but I think we're gonna really just actually run a whole full shop. There's I have some friends and some relatives that actually have brick and mortar shops out here in Utah, and talking about actually just stocking up their stores with it too. So I'd say just follow us right now on Instagram, kind of get a feel about what we do, and that information for getting merchandise will be released on that.
Awesome. Tech, did you have anything else you wanted to add or any questions? If not, I'll throw it back to you, Spencer, and we'll see if there's anything you'd like to add or anything you'd like to bring up or anything you feel like we missed.
No, I'm good. I think I got a better understanding of what NFTs are and how it works. But
so Tech, download MetaMask, start there. and
Yeah.
then we'll go to OpenSea and start browsing around.
Yeah.
Create an OpenSea account.
Well, I'm going to start listening to Gary Vee because Spencer was saying that he kind of dumps it down for the new guys. So I'm going to start there and see what it's all about because I still don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me that how someone can take a picture and just put it up for sale. But I guess if you have a following and have a story too, all your pictures
or brand,
then I guess I can see how it does. You can sell it.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we get all the encouragers to get a picture? I'll build an art of all you guys, and then I'll throw it as an NFT on the Bidbird OpenCIO, and we'll just see what it does.
Heck yeah, that sounds like a good idea. we
So what,
we
you just
are
want a picture of all of us?
Yeah, we'll just do we can just do like an encourager things, and we can build something on there. We'll just store it on there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be kind of dope.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all new, right? So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you know, put your foot in the water a little bit. You know, it's not gonna bite you on there. I think that's the thing is that, you know, a lot of people, and I'm glad that, the you guys podcast, the encouragers encouraging people out there, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, there's a lot of upside in the unknown. And so, you know what I mean? Let's just, throw it out there a little bit. Let's see what happens.
Right. Nothing, you're not going to accomplish anything by being comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to throw yourself out, out of your comfort zone. We talk about that quite a bit. A lot of motivational speakers talk about that, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Live in the uncomfortable.
Right. Because, that's how you grow. That's how you learn new things, that's, got to get out of your space, so, it just so happens, thankfully, I'm blessed with curiosity. I love finding out new things. So, I think that, and it's great having, I'd say that's probably an underlying aspect we all share in the encouragers is we all thirst for knowledge. So we're all curious. We have our different spaces that we all are probably good at, right? But we all add our different flavor to things. So it's good. It's good to it's good to put yourself out there and learn new stuff and and be vulnerable and not understand what a wallet is, because for the longest I couldn't figure out how the wallet worked. I spent some money just like transferring some stuff from one account into my wallet just to see how it worked. So I spent some gas fees just doing it because I was like, how does this work? Well, and then without really understanding what it's for. I would say the crypto market is a lot like the stock market, although when you're talking about ups and downs and reading trends and going that, but it is controlled differently because a lot of that, you'll still have your whales, you'll still have your people buying in, especially from the bigger coins, right? But because it's garnered so much interest from those that were in the stock market, they're also heavily invested in the crypto. So you're gonna have stuff get shorted, you're gonna have all that kind of space in there too. But doing a little research and just finding a coin that you believe in. I'll give you an example. There's Mars coin, which is Elon backing, right? And that coin's probably going to take off. I will say Elon's dream, why he does everything he does, he's trying to get to Mars. He's trying to make us a multi-planet species, right? So you have, if you do a little research behind the different coins and what they're for, it can kind of tell you where those are going or how they'll take off. But I find it all fascinating and interesting, and it's so new, right? That it's like it's a new thing. I think there's something to be said on finding ways to simplify it. I'm glad that Gary Vee does, but it hasn't been easy trying to find the information from from step A to Z. So maybe there's a space for one of us out there or somebody listening to make it more simple for the rest of us too.
It's true. Yeah, that's pretty cool though. Yeah, I think you talked about the Mars coin on there. So while we're on that topic real quick, let me ask you, how do you feel about Dogecoin? there's a lot of people I saw that bought a bunch of it on there, and I think it's just kind of you know what I mean. It dipped and it never went to the high point. But for those that are still sitting on those ones, do you think, you know, I know Elon, you know, tweeted about those ones too. Do you think that that one has the potential to go back up, or do you think that it's just going to move on to Mars? Because I think, you know, obviously Elon's the currently the richest person, wealthiest person on the planet, right? He's just insane amount of money. And do you think that? Yeah, and I think anything that he talks about is going to be hot, because you know how can you be the richest person and whatever you say needs to be hot is not going to be hot. I don't think that's how it works. That's on there.
Right.
But what's your thoughts on the Dogecoin?
I think Dogecoin is easy. It's like how someone could get started because it's very inexpensive. And, you know, it was how I got started into crypto. The more that you study it, though, so what inherently makes Bitcoin have value and your NFTs have value is the rarity of each one, right? And so Bitcoin has a finite amount of coins. Dogecoin is unlimited coin. So the only thing that makes it popular is, you know, when somebody big like Elon talks about it, is something that, you know, that essentially it's a meme coin, at least right now. If they change it and they set a limit on how many can be mined, you know, that would inherently create more value because you'd run out at some point of new coins. So, you know, so each coin that you already have. So really the fluctuations of the markets are just buying and selling. So, you know, right now it's like, you know, people buy some and sell some. You have somebody buy a lot, it, you know, creates the value in Dogecoin. But, you know, it is being accepted as forms of payment more in more places. So that gives it more value, you know, but it is kind of like the Shiba Inu coin where, you know, they're trying to make it a real thing too. But these meme coins where they have, you know, unlimited supply and don't have really a place in the market as opposed to like Solera or Ethereum, where there's like, you know, there's a purpose and they're making. It's not to say that it can't go somewhere, but I would say Doge is probably gonna, you know, I bought Dogecoin. I'm up like 3,000% because I bought it when it was like 0.000002. You know, it's worth,
Yeah,
you know, I think what, 20 cents a coin now or 2 cents a
yeah.
coin. I can't remember what it is exactly, but
I think like
uh,
22, 23.
yeah. So, you know, so that one's hard to, it's hard to say. I doubt that is going to be a way to, you know, unless you get really lucky with some fluctuations, you know, or you just throw some money and just let it sit and see what happens with it. But there isn't a strong purpose for Dogecoin like there would potentially be for like Mars coin or, you know, with the other ones where Mars coin might be able to interface with, you know, your Tesla vehicle. You know,
Sure.
Tesla phones are coming in the future, so you might be able to pay your Tesla phone bill with it or get a discount when using Mars coin. So again, you have, you know, the ability of a coin, or maybe that could be your ticket to Mars somehow, you know, at some point in the future where you go visit Mars on vacation or, you know, so there's just there's so much potential for some of the coins that have a purpose and they're used for many different ways. So I just see Mars coin being more of, that's a coin of the future probably. I'd say the immediate coin of the future is going to be Ethereum over anything else. You know, Ethereum's looking to go to Ethereum 2 because they're finding ways to mine it and do transactions with less costly fees through some
Okay.
of those transitions, right? So I think Ethereum is probably the future. I think Ethereum would be, it's probably going to overtake Bitcoin at some point. Again, having more value. Bitcoin being the first and the largest and the most well known will probably hold its place as a monster for a long time.
Right.
But a lot of people are predicting Ethereum to pass it at some point just because of the inherent value of where it stands in the blockchain for, you know, for transaction purposes, for backing altcoins, for backing the gaming world. You don't see a lot of the gaming world backed by Bitcoin. So, you know, so that's probably the future in my opinion.
So I think right now it's around 4,200 bucks or something like that
Mm-hmm.
for coin on there. So if you look at Bitcoin, he says around 50 G's or something like that right now. You know, it probably be worth you know, spending 4 G's to buy a coin right now and see where it's going on there. That'd probably be the best one to go.
I think it's a really good goal for everybody to own a Bitcoin and own an Ethereum coin. The Ethereum coin, of course, would be easier to get there, but that, you know, crypto is definitely the future. So it's a good investment. Imagine, picture yourself if you had the foresight to see how valuable Bitcoin would have been, a few years ago. You would be, you'd be a billionaire if you, had invested just a little bit of money back then. You could, or easily flipped yourself to a millionaire, right?
Right.
So hopefully we can have the foresight now by paying attention to these and just trying to ask ourselves, where do we, I think it's a good question, right? Where do you see the value of this going in the future? Hard to predict, right? But you can imagine, use your imagination, and try and place, where these things go. There's going to be something, of course, that there's going to be probably multiple things that come up that nobody saw coming that are going to be value, but that's exciting, right? So, maybe you'll get it right, maybe you won't.
Right.
But it's good to have the thought, okay, so what's the next Bitcoin? What's the next Ethereum? Now that you're asking yourself these questions, you might not miss it.
True.
So do you think if we do have this virtual reality world that Ethereum would be the token to buy things in that virtual reality world?
It already is.
Since it's backed by gaming?
Yeah. Yeah, it's already like like Decentraland and Sandbox. They have their own coins, but those coins are backed by Ethereum. So so you have, and those are all different gaming worlds. Like you said last time, Minecraft is, and that's another virtual one. I don't know what coin backs Minecraft though, but there's a lot of different worlds out there. But yeah, the majority of all of them are backed by Ethereum now. So Snoop Dogg is backing the Sandbox one. That's his virtual world. So it's just like a game. It looks like a lot of these other virtual games, but he'll like perform in there, and he'll have property there that'll invite the characters to come visit. And so it's just interesting, this space that I really don't know a whole lot about, but it's booming already. So we talked about this before too. So let's say somebody owns land next to Snoop's mansion, right? So Snoop's got a mansion in Sandbox. Then on that land they have a casino. So people go over to Snoop's for events and whatever. They come out of there, they can just go to the casino right next door. And that casino, they can bet the coins that are from, and so they'll make money off of that
Real
right there.
It's like playing Grand Theft Auto. You know how you go hit up the casinos and stuff like that, and you buy the houses. It's that, but yeah, in the real world. So that brings it up to they have Upland, where you can actually I bought a couple things in there, but anyone that's kind of curious with that too, Upland is a good place to kind of see where that digital world, what that looks like.
And you can just YouTube like a clip from Upland, right? And you'd be able to kind of see what it's like in there. The other value in, like, so people own property in there, that casino next to Snoop's mansion. You could also advertise, for example, we've got our friend Tonga that owns, he was Good Vibes, and then the card shop now, right? So imagine you walk out of Snoop's mansion, you've got property with a casino, you got property with a billboard that has, the card shop, and then in that there's a link that you can go to his card shop, right?
Right.
Or Bidbird with a link to Bidbird's future card shop. So that's where there's the inherent value of owning property within these virtual lands, because you have all these people walking around with their avatars in there. They go to an event or a concert at Snoop's mansion, they walk out, your property's right there, or your property and your advertisement. If they're a card fanatic, they'd click on that, right? So it's just, that's why there's value, and that could be any brand, it could be anything you could think of.
Yeah, it's so crazy where it's all going to go. No one knows where it's going to be. There's a ton of upside on there. It's basically going to be like living in an Oculus world.
Right.
It's like you always have an Oculus on there when you come in. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think everyone will probably live there, and I don't know. I don't think the interaction with actual real people, I think that might change too on there. So it's super weird to see what it'll look like when we're in our 60s and 70s, kind of what the world is now. And we're like, hey, remember that one time when podcast, we were talking about what this looks like on there. That's the intriguing part, right? Of it all.
Right.
Well, it's not like there's that much interaction going on nowadays, anyways. Everybody's staring at their phone now. We just need to enter the virtual world already.
Yeah, it's right.
Well,
Just
we're,
like,
that's a good point, Tech. We're already there, right? So you're in
Yeah.
your virtual, you're in your phone. You're just not wearing glasses yet, but
No.
that's why it's just a small step to it. You're already, you're living in Instagram. If somebody's scrolling through Instagram for an hour, they're in that virtual world that whole time.
Yeah, I mean, you could sit in the same room with 4 people and you're not even talking, you're just texting each other. And all in the same room.
yeah, you're the weird one that actually your mouth and talks to the other person.
Yeah.
Right.
So man, it's already there. We just need the glasses.
Tech, that's why I see so much huge value in still mixing, man, and putting your phones down and talking. Because hey, as exciting as the future is for here, there's so much you can learn from face-to-face interaction and just being in a room and talking jokes and stories and playing music, all that kind of stuff.
And that's the other part though, right? That's kind of weird though, right? It's like everything that's not tangible, right? The digital world is kind of where it's all going to go. The thing that I want to be watching is who's buying the actual tangible assets, right? So it's like, yeah, you're spending all this money, you're buying virtual, but who's going to be buying the actual stuff that's around here, right? And I don't know. And that's kind of, sometimes I kind of play that scenario. It's like, man, what if this is kind of, set up for a big buy on actual stuff, you know what I mean? So I think it's kind of crazy what it could be on there, but yeah, it's going to be interesting definitely to see how it looks like in the future.
Right. And which one becomes the most popular, which one becomes, you see Facebook really, in my opinion, kind of dying, right? There's not a lot of youth in the Facebook world. They're elsewhere, right? So for a while, Snapchat, everybody was in Snapchat for a while. These young kids are, all on probably TikTok, as I would say, probably the most popular one now. But, what space is going to take off and be the dominant place where people exist in, in the virtual space? Is there going to be a dominant game? Is there going to be, a Fortnite of the future, that everybody, jumps into? So interesting to think about.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe another social media platform where the only thing that exists is what you own virtually. So like, you can't post a regular picture. You got to buy something from the virtual store and show that off on your Instagram. You know what I mean? It's crazy what it definitely, yeah, what it's going to be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Notice. I think we got Notice joining right now. Notice, can you hear us?
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, man. Where it's gonna go. Like I'm thinking, when I think of the metaverse, that's what it's called, or the virtual reality. Like it's gonna be this whole big thing, and you could probably create like your own section in that metaverse. And then you could do like, I don't know, whatever it is that you like doing.
I think
like you could create your own metaverse of mixing.
Right.
Just a big old your own kava bar in the virtual world. Right. Maybe a kava town where you farm kava and then you have your own kava bar with the farm in the backyard.
Yeah, so that would be crazy. So let's say you have your own kava bar or your own kava farm, and in the virtual world, people come to your farm, buy the bags, and then you get a notification for reals, and you ship out the bags for reals.
Right. So right? And then right, and then it goes out to them. Then they get a kava token, right, which then they can spend to come hang out. Like when Ray Ledger or J-Boog performs in your kava bar, right? So you could go be there and then take part in the, you could be drinking your kava with your augmented glasses or VR on, but listen to J-Boog or Ray Ledger or K Nova or somebody just jamming. Finn, somebody coming on there. What was that, Tech?
at your kava bar,
Right.
hanging out with all your friends, but in reality, you're sitting at home.
Hold on, let me just put TM so we just trademark that, guys, so nobody else can steal our idea.
There you go. See, when you just talk with people, great things happen, right? Great conversations lead to great ideas.
Because it's
But
going
yeah,
to be a big old universe of like virtual reality. So you could probably create whatever you want, whatever you want in there.
Right. I think, where you're to is like how you connect the different metaverses. For example, you've got your kava bar, you've got your kava farm, right? That we're talking there. And then you got a connection to Jack in the Box or Philly Bees or different Philly Bertos or with Betos or whatever, you could get food delivered, through that as well. So just how you're connecting the different metaverse platforms that's going to be interesting to to see as well, right? Or something to some chasers, right? So you can you have a chaser with kava in it. I think there was one. What was it? I found one out here in one of the kava bars called Dakine that I've showed you guys. They were calling it Dakine in the because it's Falangi owned. They don't have any Polynesian influence there to tell them how things are pronounced. But so it's an interesting thing how you can connect all these different products to one little virtual space.
yeah, it's gonna be super crazy. It's gonna be basically like surfing the internet, but in a virtual world, a different type of surfing the internet. And so yeah, the real estate's gonna be your advertisement space that you're gonna have to pay. So the those that own the real estate and lease those out in that virtual world, that's where the money's gonna be.
Yeah.
So
So
like
how do
you do a 12-month lease, and if they, hey, cool, man, we're gonna release this up here if you can't pay the up rent.
so that would be
What
something
what
to look into is how to create the real estate.
what's gonna probably be crazy, and what I think probably will happen is I think people will probably have a lot of people will rather save their real estate in the virtual world and be homeless in real life is where I think it's gonna be. I think like it's gonna be crazy because it's right because it's gonna be so much hype and there's gonna be so much like this is the real world. So I don't know. I think it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be funny, fun.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I feel like we need to be mixing right now.
I thought we've been mixing, bro.
You're ahead of the game. The other thought I had too is, so we're thinking, on a scale. I think that's what Facebook is thinking is they want to be the connector of the metaverses. So you'll go there to connect to Disney's metaverse, maybe, right? Then Disney's going to have all the cartoons. They're going to have, all
Marvel,
Marvel. They're
Star
going to have
Wars.
all that in one universe, right? So, but let's say they try and leave that, and then they want to go visit ESPN's, metaverse. So there's going to be, are those going to be connected within a world? Are you going to be able to just go to Facebook and then from there take off to any metaverse that you want, right? Like whichever one that you're trying to go. I think that's what Facebook is trying to do in my like limited knowledge of what's going on. But I think they want to be like the home field for where
They want
everybody
to
launches their stuff.
Be like the Google.
Right. Be there first. I'm sure Google's already thinking this too. I don't know
yeah.
what they're doing in the space, but I'm sure they're ahead of it.
So when you talk about it like that, right? And earlier we were talking about how the space is kind of intriguing because it's decentralized on there. It also seems like the metaverse is somewhere to, as I said, somewhere to really trap in people's customer base, right? Because all those real estates are going to be the same people that own the real estate out here. You know what I mean? You talk about Nike and you talk about all those, they're going to own a majority of that space in there on there. So I think the interesting part would be is is that going to be intriguing for people to want to go in there and see Nike, or is it going to be like, no, man, like I want to go somewhere where I don't see you guys as much? You know what I mean? That's what's going to be the interesting part, because it could backfire on the big brands. It's like, no, we don't want you guys in here. We just want to get away from the real world and just chill on there. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the market demands, the consumers.
The decentralized crowd is definitely not a fan of the big. The big is they're gonna succeed, but where they succeed, and there's probably gonna be the decentralized crowd on one side, and then the people just consuming whatever, right?
Yeah.
There'll be the space there for them. So, and we'll just see how powerful the decentralized side can become, with us controlling it. Because I imagine some of these bigger corporations don't like that idea.
Yeah. So, when you talk about about Facebook wanting to be the center and having all these different metaverses, maybe it's the way we look at it's chat rooms, right? Or you know what I mean, where there's going to be certain metaverses where like just like on Facebook group pages where there's only certain things that are allowed, right? So in that metaverse, it's like, no, you can't do this, or you get kicked out of this metaverse on there too. So maybe there'll be worlds where you know what I mean, you can't have Fortune 500 companies in there. You know what I mean? It's all small businesses and everyone else, or no business talk at all. It's all kava, and that's it. You know what I mean? Only the kava companies and these ones, and people want to buy real estate in that world. You know what I mean? And so that's another way to probably get a bigger pull and get people that are like-minded to you as well, because that's pretty much what all the social media different things on there is, just people that are like Twitter. It's like a lot of like-minded people that probably won't be friends on Facebook, but they have the same passions. And so maybe these rooms or these metaverses are going to be similar to that too, where you can probably talk to and say, hey, I want to buy a metaverse world, and you buy it from them, but it's on their platform, and then you can go in that world and do whatever you want. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like I said, it's like we've been talking about, it's anything right now is what it could be. I think that's the cool thing about it, because you can actually use your imagination and say, what
did it.
Yeah, that's it. It having this conversation about it, but then it still just blows your mind to think about where it can go, and it's got me thinking. I don't know if you guys watched Westworld, but is there going to become so much value in virtual worlds that there'll be more value back in the real world again? It's just interesting to see the dynamic of how that will play back and forth, between what people decide. I think you'll probably have both crowds, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe like you talked about it with Halo, right? I remember my cousins, they're super big on Halo. We'd play Halo and Halo 2 growing up, right, on Xbox and everything like that. But there was people that were in that space that you're like, oh, that's that he's the guy. You know what I mean? Like that's that's who it is. And you always, you know what I mean, you always want to be friends. You'd send friends requests like, I want to be friends with that person, right? And sometimes they'd be maxed out, like no, whatever it is. And so I think that's going to be the similar with that. I think that's what NFTs is doing too, with it too, because you see a lot of them already. You talk about, hey, how's the world's going to be on there? Maybe if you're a really big shot in the metaverse, it's going to afford you a lot of stuff in the real world,
right?
With it, and we already see that with the ape NFT groups. You see a lot of the high-end people that's on there, and it just goes back to, again, building something and then building scarcity and value with it, and then it just runs from there. So But yeah, I was watching a thing on there that there's certain parties that you get invited to just from being an owner of that NFT, right? And that's what they're doing is they're, you know what I mean? There's certain like, hey, we're having this, you know, party over here on Malibu Beach, you know, and you send it to all the owners. Boom, and you have to come in. You have to show that you're an owner with it. And so, you know, there's just a lot of crazy stuff that you can tie in with how you can use that in the real world, but then also kind of what the metaverse is going to look like too. Going to be interesting.
What's up, Spencer? Can you guys hear me okay?
Hey, what's up?
Sorry, it took me forever to get back. I just came back from a banquet. This is Notis checking in for those of you just listening. What's up, Spencer? We're talking NFTs, right? Talking NFTs?
Yes, sir.
Man, I had so many questions, dude. I don't know if you guys spit them off already.
I'm the same way. What's up, guys?
What's up, Tonga?
What's up, Tonga? Hey,
How's
ask
the
away because I'm still kind of trying to
Hey,
figure
this
out
was
NFT.
the episode I've been waiting for, bro.
Man, yeah, we had Joe
Oh.
looking into doing NFTs, but he's still getting
Who?
back to us on that. Joe
Who?
Dulikiuk. Joe, their younger brother.
Oh,
No, but man, thanks for coming on the show, man. And sorry for being late, guys. I'm just getting back from this FCA banquet at the El Dorado downtown. It was a good banquet.
Nice.
shout out to the banquet.
They had some good food, had some chicken, ate some cheesecake, and they had a Caesar salad. It was pretty good. I sent some pictures. I don't know if I sent some pictures to you guys yet, but I'll send them here afterwards. But yeah, don't let me what's the basically what's the recap? Spencer, what is the NFT for those who are maybe or may not be confused still or hasn't Googled it yet? What is just to give me a 5 or 10-second rundown of what is an NFT? Just so I can catch up to you guys.
Yeah, so we've been talking. So NFT is just a non-fungible token. So it's pretty much anything that you can put on a blockchain, right? On there. So we were talking about what can you NFT, and we were talking about all kinds of different things that's on there. But I think it's still open because there's a couple areas that we were talking about that, you know, that we were kind of thinking about what can you NFT on there. So but pretty much it's just anything that you want to NFT, you can do it with a blockchain code on there.
Oh,
So
okay,
you can use a service to register like a VIN number specific for that one thing. It's kind of like the easiest way we kind of broke it down when we were talking about it.
Yeah, so say like he was telling us that if we all get a picture of, and he'll create an NFT for encouragers.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll all get a picture, and then you get this blockchain. This blockchain gives that picture a serial number, and that's what creates the NFT, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah, Mystica.
so it gives it like a VIN number almost. Gives it an identity.
A serial number, so it's only one
Serial
of a kind.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
And whoever owns
Digitally.
whoever owns that number, that serial number, owns the NFT.
Oh, okay.
Because there was a question I asked earlier, like, what if 30 people take a picture of the same thing, and they all created an NFT?
So whoever creates it first owns it first, or what?
No, they all can. I guess they all can create an NFT, but
Right.
I guess depending on your following is how it.
The difference would be that Tech created that NFT, or Notice you created that one. And so the value, the inherent value, or Tonga created that NFT of the one of one in his good vibes himself, out of the card shop. He created it. And so the value is that he is the one that, that pulled that card, that one of one, and then created the NFT for it.
Oh, okay. Got you. So, all right. That's what's up. Man, my other question is, why the hell are we doing all this? Why can't we just stick to just owning regular things just outright? Who, first of all, started this movement to digitize and make everything that way? Who came up with this idea?
I blame
We answer that?
Fortnite.
Fortnite?
I think technology is just heading that way. From
Mhm.
what I've come from, what Spencer was telling us, just
Yeah.
seems like
Yeah.
everything's going down that way.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I said, I think we're all living in the time that the right now, the present, and and you just kind of look at where everything is going with the type of VR capabilities we have out there, like Oculus, and and how Bitcoins and digital coins and altcoins are kind of the thing versus cash money was like the thing, right? They always said cash money with it. And so you kind of look at where the future's at, and you look at the younger generation, right? The young people rule the world, and that's kind of what the future is going to be. So if you want to know what the future looks like, just look at what the young people are doing. That's in there, and I think that's kind of their age, their kind of thing. And so we kind of talked about when we were growing up, what was the things that were it. You know what I mean?
Pogs. Everyone collected Pogs back then.
Right?
Slammers,
Slammers.
You know what I mean? Pogs and slammers.
yo-yos,
Yeah, yo-yos were a big thing, and so
like a bumblebee.
Remember the slapsticks that had your like favorite band on them? You could wear it as a bracelet.
Oh,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
oh, Def Leppard.
right.
So which blockchain is the one that's being used by most people? What is OpenSea? Is that a blockchain?
OpenSea is like a marketplace, so just like it's an open sea, so it's like it's basically the marketplace where you can go in and actually exchange and buy and sell.
Oh, that's where
You're
people buy and sell. That's right.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
where you buy and sell your crypto stuff.
your NFT art. Yep.
Oh, your NFT art. My bad, my bad. I
Yeah.
saw somewhere on a commercial just recently. One of the commercials yesterday is between the NFL game last night. They were saying that now accepting NFTs, you can pay in NFTs, you can pay in crypto coins, altcoins. It was the weirdest thing. It had a look right. You had to be paying attention to the commercial, but it said now accepting NFTs and crypto altcoins.
Bro, that's wild.
I was
Did
like,
you
what?
did you also hear about just along the same lines? Odell Beckham is taking the rest of his contract in Bitcoin, in crypto.
That's
Wow.
That's
crazy.
wild. Like as an actual, that's the
Payment?
form of payment that he wants to receive per his contract. You know what I mean? So they have to honor that. It's crazy. But who
Yeah, it's
wouldn't? You know what I
crazy.
mean? It's like it's been going up and it's all over the place. Why not gamble? You already have so much money. I think for the athletes, they're at a point where they have everything they could ever imagine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Why
then
not roll
also
the dice?
why not roll the dice, and then why don't, and if you're looking at inflation, look at the cost of, or how much the dollar's worth right now. It's going down, it's plummeting. So why
Yeah, it's
why
trash.
wouldn't you? I mean, wasn't that the reason why crypto or Bitcoin was created, to get away from central banks? You guys know?
I think so. And it was a way where the government can't tax and stuff like that. Because remember, when Bitcoin was just like, I remember, I don't know when it started initially, but when I got from my first crypto was in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of my buddies telling me, he's like, yeah, the government hasn't figured out how to tax it. So you can't really use it as a form of payment, because it was unheard of back then, They just had those machines essentially that you could go and like look at your balance,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's like, Cash App, you can pay with crypto.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the first apps that I saw besides like crypto.com and all that stuff. But I feel from what Spencer's talking about with OpenSea being able to openly trade your NFT art, it's going to be accessible via app. Like, it's wild. All these cool kids are doing it, and it's just going to be the craze for a while, I think.
How do you verify if an NFT is an original? Is there like some sort of code that you look up, or you can scan the NFT to see if it's originally yours, or if it's a 1-of-1 or 2-of-1, or one of?
So when you so on OpenSea, because it's all digital, there's a paper trail, right? And that's why a lot of people in our generation didn't want to go to digital, because with actual cash and stuff, you can hide it, You know what I mean? And now
Mm,
that's the other upside of it. Now is everything's is paper trail on there. You can see transactions, you can see everything. You know what I mean on it. So it's every time that it moves hands on there, you'll be able to trace that. So
Oh,
there's not
dang.
you know what I mean. There's not going to be you'll have the actual ownership because it'll go to a wallet that we're talking about earlier. But the other part of that too is it's easy to trace back and
nice.
forth. You can't fake it.
Oh, right on. Dang,
It's tight.
it's pretty safe. Man, that's crazy. It's just I'm trying to wrap my head around this because we're moving from cash to coin, like virtual currency. It's just crazy. And if you look at Bitcoin when it first started out, it was like 0.1 cent. Then it went to like 8 cents and then $4. We got to get this NFT stuff. If you guys are listening, this NFT stuff is going to blow up, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to blow. It's going that way. What Tech was saying, it's going to blow up. So why don't we try to understand what we're doing, what it is, and get into it early, so we're not left behind having to pay $50,000 for one Bitcoin when we could have gotten in at 0.0018 cents or $4 even. That's what
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to. I mean, me personally, for you to come on and talk about this, Spencer, because this is what's going to happen. And then they say the next wave of billionaires and trillionaires are going to be in this metaverse. So it's not going away. It's something we should all try to understand, try to wrap our heads around, try to get into it early so we're not left behind. But that's the only reason. I appreciate you coming on, Spencer. I appreciate it. And I do apologize for coming on late again.
There is one idea we got to catch you guys up on that we just kind of like had an epiphany on, but we were just giving an idea of like
Sydney. Oh,
we were talking about like metaverses and trying to break it down to like a tangible idea so it makes sense in our brains, right? Because when we speak in some of these generalized terms, it can just kind of go in one ear out of the other. But we're just giving an example of a virtual kava bar, right? And so let's say you own the virtual kava bar. You have people come in. You could be drinking your own kava at home, but you just put your augmented glasses on or your virtual reality, and you're hanging out at the kava bar. There's music playing, and then with a click of a button, people can order kava from your kava farm that you have, and it'll get shipped out to them, right? So that's a way for you to make money. Is you've got your brand right there where they can order kava, and then over to the right you've got a link to Jack in the Box or Beto's or wherever where you can order food for the after, for coming in, or drinks to have and have them delivered. Then the other aspect would be, as you order kava, you get kava coins, right? And you amass kava coins, and then occasionally you'll have to use your kava coins, or you pay to be at the kava bar when J Book performs or when Ray Ledger performs or whoever, right? So that virtual, just kind of giving it a tangible, in our niche, right? Stuff that we like, that we enjoy, I think since we all mixed with each other for years and years and years, that'd be one way where the virtual, we could take the virtual side of things and kind of translate it into our own language, right? And then you can run with that idea, like your music idea there too. Notice, potentially you could have multiple mixes there at the kava bar, and you could join whichever one and see what music they're playing, right? So without diving too much into your unique idea, which we don't really need to discuss like crazy, but just giving you an idea of just the different options you could do, right?
I kind of want to just share the idea, because if I can't execute it, I want someone else to execute it. Because
I double dog dare you to.
Well, you heard it here first. So it's our original idea here from the show, the Encourages Podcast show. So I wanted to develop an app or something where we can DJ live with our friends, right? So we can listen to music while we're mixing, because we're all in different parts of the world. I don't know if you guys understand the Encourages show. We're all like 5 different cities, 5 different time zones. And we usually like to mix virtually, or like when we hop on a FaceTime and we drink kava with each other. But the idea came because we wanted to hear what I wanted to listen to Jake's playlist while what he's listening to in North Carolina, and have him
in
DJ
real time,
real time through an app there's no such app out there that can do that. Where I can listen to the perfect stream of him, what he's playing. Then maybe Tech wants to DJ a couple songs, and Tech would play whatever he's listening to in Salt Lake. And in Tonga in Texas, he could play, he could take over and start DJing. Kind of like how we do in real life at our mixes. Someone just grabs the phone and the aux cord, and they start DJing while we were enjoying our kava. But that was the whole premise of that idea, was to be able to do that. Maybe we can now do that in the metaverse, but it would be nice to develop an app where we could do that. That was the idea. So if anyone comes up with a way to do that, please get with us so we can, make something happen. But
Yeah.
the metaverse is exciting, man. It's something that's going to get huge, and NFTs are a big part of that. And we need to encourage others and to wrap our heads around this. So thanks again, Spencer, 100% for coming on, man, taking the time to come on here. I don't know, how long have you guys been going? I can't even see.
I'm not even sure. Probably like an hour.
Man,
Shout out Big Bird, man. The
Shout out
merch
to
is
Big Bird.
dope, bro. I just found out that was your pops on the image that Tech has on his hat. Bro,
Oh yeah.
so dope, bro. Just
That
to
is
bring
dope.
your personal touch into it. And shout out all the NFTs you've been making, man, all that art. I share it as much as I can, man, because it's off the
Wanted
chain
a
for real. It's
big
just like
background.
it's very original, you know what I mean? Like most of these NFTs will be the same image, but with just different costumes or a different, like Mr. Potato Head, right? They're just adding different features like that. But bro, I love the, being original and keep pumping it out, man. I was excited to have you on just to pick your brain about NFTs because I know you guys know already, but NFTs is a big part of trading cards. Panini, the main manufacturer for trading cards, came up with the blockchain cards starting last year. And everybody was like, it don't make no sense. At first, they came out with the blockchain so you can own the card that you pulled via digital, off their Panini app, and the real card itself. They would actually ship you the card if you pulled that card in a box or a brick or whatever. And then they slowly went to it's only digital, right? So me being, consumed by cards, I've come across some cards that I've owned, and I ran into a buddy, and he was just like, "Hey, have you gotten any of those blockchain cards?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've got like a stack at home that I don't know what to do with because I don't want to redeem them." He's like, "Bro, they're selling on eBay." Sure enough, dude, I go onto eBay and it's like buku bucks. So immediately I go and I list all of them on eBay, and they work the same way. Like you have, there's one of ones, there's super rare parallels that you can pull, but it's just a digital card that you can have in two different spaces. You can have it on the Panini app for life on your phone or, wherever you want to store it. And they'll also store it on their cloud service. So you can log into Panini and see what you own in your virtual vault. So, I mean, that's when I knew. I was like, damn, this is wild. Like we went from people getting excited, selling $1,000 physical card, something that they can actually, that's like Jake was talking, tangible, they can use, they can sell, to just something digital. Like you literally scratch the code off, go on Panini's website, redeem it. And there's a market for that too. It's similar to OpenSea where you can just trade your blockchain, and it gives you that paper trail of who's owned it before, what they traded it for. So it's like, it's unreal, bro. It's like, it reminds me of when I was a kid and we used to do make believe. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy.
That's crazy.
Super crazy. It's crazy. It's like, and that's what we, I think for all of us, we couldn't wrap our heads around is like, how could you value something that's not tangible, that you don't have, you know what I mean? Because the other worry is like, could someone delete that with it, you know what I mean? But, it's weird, you know what I mean? And value always is dependent on what people are willing to pay,
Yep.
and, it's crazy. It's like people want to pay for the digital. They don't care about the tangible, And it's like, you know, does tangible become the liability and digital
That's
become,
what blows my mind, man. It's human
yeah,
nature. We need to see it. We need to feel it. We need to know it's there. But now it's like we don't even need to feel it. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
like locked up in a virtual vault, or we carry it around wherever. And the celebrities are like just doing off the wall stuff, like that post I sent you guys. I follow basketball like crazy. But Tyrese Halliburton, rookie for the Sacramento Kings, recently purchased one of those ape, the ones that are going crazy right now for like millions and millions of dollars.
yeah,
He invested last year in an ape, and he got somebody to customize the shoe with his ape on the shoe. So he wore it to a game, and it became like from then on, it was just like a domino effect. Players were tweeting, I don't know about you guys, but I'll be aped up today, like, and they'll have their ape on their shoe, and the other player will have their ape on the shoe, and then they'll end up like, it's wild. Like now, everybody's just having fun with it. But all I want to say is I want $1 million ape one day.
right.
Go ahead and get it, man.
That's crazy part about that too, right? So like, Bored Ape is like one of the it's a really high class expensive NFT on there. So let's say Halliburton, I didn't hear about that, but let's say Halliburton, he owns an ape, and he got the ape on his shoe, and let's say he autos that. Let's say that he wears it and then he wants to sell it. That shoe's
Wow.
worth more now because he's an actual owner of the actual real NFT versus someone just putting an ape that's not in the club. And that's what NFT is kind of crazy. It's a club thing, right? It's a class thing. It's like, it's like people that own Ferraris, they only get certain invitations or whatever it is, right? So Bored Ape Club, you know what I mean? If he decides to get a picture, custom made on some shoes, wears it, autos it, how much is that shoe worth now? You know what I mean?
Dang, I didn't think of it like that.
That's what's crazy about it, is that there's so much value being pressed on NFT that it's like, and you own it, so you can do it, right? But if I go and do a shoe and I put an ape on it, that's the same exact ape as his, but I'm not an owner. Does that really even increase the value? And that's what's weird, right? It's like the guy owns a freaking digital art and he can do that. Everyone that follows that's going to spend the money on that shoe. It's just made that different. And the other thing about it too is he just his fan base or his following just increased, right? Because he became a Bored Ape owner on it. So
Dang.
maybe people that played basketball or card collectors, they like him, they follow him. But now that he owns it, what about all those people that are in the crypto space that just saw him, that followed like crazy and like, oh, cool, he's part of the Bored Ape Club. Oh, what? He put it on his shoe? Dang, we should probably let's all buy a shoe. Let's see if he'll sell a shoe. And so that's where it's crazy. Where I think NFTs can do is it's brand. It's a different place to enhance your brand and your following. You know what I mean? As anyone that has a business owner or anything like that, it's kind of like the extra part to making your business whole going into the future.
I had a
Let's just put this into perspective. So, and I'm just going to keep with sports. So Staples Center obviously was the forum before where the Lakers played, right?
Mhm.
Right.
The Lakers recently did a deal with Crypto.com for the naming rights for the Staples Center. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Staples, the sign came down. They put Crypto.com up for the next 20 years for over $700 million.
Yeah.
Crypto.com is not going, like crypto is not going anywhere. So it's almost as if, I don't know how I can, like, but NFT, it's not going to go anywhere. And it's at the point where it's still kind of affordable to get into it, but pretty soon it's not going to be. Like how Bitcoin's not, like who's going to put up 50, 60K for one Bitcoin right now? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's tough. So it's here to stay. Like that's, for example, right there, crypto.com, 20 years, 700 million. Bro, that's unreal. It's unheard of in that kind of space for naming rights like that. You know what I mean?
I think they said it was the most expensive
Yeah,
named
ever. Crazy.
Mm.
Over 700 million for 20 years. And just to give a comparison to that, when I used to work at Vivint, home alarms, I think it was like just a little over 2 million, not billion, 2 million for 10 years to name where the Jazz play, because it's Vivint
Right.
Smart Home Arena now. So
Energy.
that's unreal.
Yep.
That is wild. So I had a question about like the art. I see a lot of these NFT crypto or NFT things. The art is not all that. They seem kind of pixelated. Some of them, some like, you know what I mean? Like anyone could do a pixelated ape or whatever it is. It seems like that's to me, for me personally, thinking about it.
Right.
Like what determines what is a good NFT? What talk about the artwork that goes into these NFTs. Is there something? Is there like a secret sauce to it or something of how to develop them or how to make them? I mean, your NFTs, bro. If anyone has not been on Bitbird's Instagram yet, you have to go on there and look at all the artwork that Spencer's putting out. First of all, Spencer, is that you doing all that artwork? Is that you solo?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, bro.
My
That's that
lord.
Kirby gang, right? Was that Kirby gang? Was that
That's-
influence
yeah.
from Kirby gang?
That's the ADD growing up. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Man,
yeah, it's the Kirby. It's it's built Bill Lewis art.
shout out to Builds.
Out the builds and just the team out there, and there's nothing else to do in Reno except for stuff like that. So
Great art.
yeah, so tagging was a thing, and like everything else, it just kind of transformed into what it is. But yeah, you talk about the pixelated art, it's pretty big in NFT space. One of the big ones that are heavy hitters along there with Bored Ape is CryptoPunks, and
That's it.
they're all
Oh, I've seen that one, dude.
and you know what I mean. Their stuff's running for crazy. You know what I mean? Like you get a pixelated person in there. You know what I mean? Like a little art, and it's a couple 100,000. You know what I mean? So
Fun.
it's just it's weird, and that's the thing is I don't think I think right now the space is so new, fast, it has a lot of energy that
Mhm.
jump in the space and just start to build themselves, and we'll get a following from it. You know what I mean? So, that's the thing is it's like the space is so big and new that everyone should jump into it right now, because there's no right or wrong answer right now. I think everyone's just trying to figure it out with it. Some people kind of have their own groove, but the space is so huge that you don't have to follow along with it. You can just do you, and there'll be enough people, 7 billion people in the world. There'll be enough people out there that are like-minded that will follow that trend. You just got to put yourself out there a bunch of times until some traction gets.
Well, I'm telling you, you are putting out superior artwork in reference to the other ones that are out there that are getting paid. You have $1 million NFTs just streaming all over, man. The artwork is super unique. Please, guys, go check it out on Instagram and follow him, follow Bitbird, and check out all the artwork. It's super, super unique. Like, how do you come up with that? Your designs and everything, especially the one that Tech's wearing on the hat. We need one of those, first of all. We need some gear, some merch to come to each and every one of us on this podcast so we can wear it every day. And then talk a little about your process of how you develop your unique. It's a unique style. You guys have to go on Instagram and check out Bitbird. All the NFTs, all his artwork that he's doing. It's amazing, super unique. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So the hat idea on there was just growing up, in the graffiti space, there was influencer guy called Obey and Giant, and then a lot of the stuff that was really popular was all the revolutionary people that people would prop up from Cuba and stuff like that. That was kind of the thing. And so I found a picture of my dad, and I kind of messed with it a bunch of times. And I had this idea that I was like, man, because he passed away back in like 2011. But I was like, man, wouldn't it be crazy if I just saw my dad's face everywhere and nobody knew who he was on there? So I didn't want to tell anyone. Like some people are like, hey man, I remember that looks, you know what I mean? But I didn't want to tell anyone what it was. I wanted people just to make up their own assumption, like, oh, this must be like some revolutionary or some character that's on there. And that's where that design came out there. But yeah, it's still pretty crazy to I got some people around here that were it, and sometimes when I see it, I'm like, man, that's kind of weird. Like in my head, like that's kind of weird to see it, but no one knows who he is. But you know what I mean. But it's cool to see it everywhere on there. So that's kind of where that design came in there. But yeah, we're gonna be pushing a lot of the hats and some bags. I'll send them out to you guys on there. But that's kind of what our main focus is right now, is just bags and hats on there. We're gonna kind of dump a lot of the different ideas and just focus on bags and hats for right now.
That's what's up, man. We need to send some out to our listeners in Australia to get a care package for them out there. Right, Jake and Tech, everyone listening. We need to get a care package out there ASAP. Shout out to our Australia listeners. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. But yeah, I love your art, bro. It is unique. I want to wear the gear. I want a hoodie. I want some hats. I want some glasses. I want the whole thing. A jacket. We need everything, bro. Let's start wearing our own stuff, promoting our own people. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the people out there, bro, they aren't that nice, man. They ain't that nice at all. They just have the connection, or they were able to hook up with someone that put them up on a level. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't that nice. Like, if they can do it, we all certainly can do it. That's one of the
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Card House, Texas Card House. Do we want to call it Arlington Card House or Texas
Just Card House?
Just Card House.
Shout out to our sponsor. We're not the Card House poker room in Dallas, but we are the Card House.
Shout out to you, bro, for coming on and always supporting the podcast. But yeah, we need that gear, Spencer. Let's hook up whatever we can do to help, man. Let us know.
Do you have a big and tall fanny pack?
Of course.
Is there such thing?
It's just a backpack with like a satchel strap.
Oh, so I can wear it around my shoulders, what you're saying.
There you go.
Because 100%, I kid you not, when you go to card shows, that's all you see is Supreme, Louis Vuitton, like fanny packs, people wearing around their shoulder. I'm like, I want to be different. I don't want to wear Supreme. I want to wear Bitbird. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Make it a
no, but that's so dope,
name.
bro. I'm glad that I asked Tech who that was, because just like you were saying, like, like on the Obey shirts, I have no idea who the hell that guy is. But he's like on shirts, he's on pants, he's on, That's pretty dope, bro.
It is dope. Super authentic. That's the thing that is just amazing, man. Keep it up, Spencer. Keep it up, man. Keep rolling, bro. We're rocking with you, bro. Anytime you post something, we try to like it and repost it into our IG stories or whatever, man. Even though we don't have much of a following, but eventually they'll be like, "Oh, this was the podcast that was messing with Bitbird back in the day." You know what I mean? You get the credit. You know what I'm saying? But I like that your screensaver or your background right there, Jake. Who designed that one? Did you do that?
There's our special guest Spencer. Designed this one right here.
Are you guys both in Egypt?
Yes, we're harnessing the power of the secret Egyptian pyramids
from 200 million thousand years ago.
Yeah,
no, for real though, man. Bitbird, for real. Like, I love it, bro. And then just for our listeners, man, it really doesn't cost anything for you to like, share, comment on social media. Most people don't know, but there's an algorithm that they use. Hit the airplane one time, share it, because it doesn't cost you anything. You know what I mean? If you're rocking it, and we're not asking you, to go out and buy your favorite celebrity's makeup, hit the share button. You know what I mean? It goes a long way.
Absolutely.
I try to share as much as I can. Like, I don't know. If it makes sense to me and I like something, dude, I'm going to share it, bro. Especially that FOB NFT made, bro. Shout out the Nifogolas in the world. Bro. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, that's dude. You need to hurry up and get that. Is that one already? Did you already lock that one up?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
I'm building a series for Mr. FOB,
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
but I
when I
wanted
seen that
to,
on Facebook, I immediately was like, "That's my guy. I need a variation of that NFT, bro."
You get that out to all the like the professional athletes, Polynesian athletes. Oh my gosh, bro. Just start
For
sending them
real,
gear.
dude.
Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, and you know what I was thinking? Is that game that Vita Vea just got his tooth knocked out, right?
Oh,
Like 2 games ago.
tag him. We need to
So
tag
he
him.
goes on his Instagram and he goes, "Should I be like every other Tonga and get a Nifocola?" Dude, all I was thinking, I was like, dude, oh man, I should have hit up Spencer and been like, "Hey, bro, we need to crop that picture of Mr. FOB and stick it on Vita Vea's face."
You never know, man. It'll blow up.
yeah, I think on that one, so I think where we're at right now and going in the future, I think I think there was a time there where a lot of people that were successful, growing up that were Polynesian, they kind of distance themselves from Polynesians, and I get it on there, you know what I mean? Sometimes you outgrow the people you're around, and so you move on, you know what I mean? It's nothing personal. It's just like you don't have, you don't have an on the ground. So you got to be around other people to kind of have this same language and same understanding. And so with it, but I think where, where I'm at my age and where I fit and, from where my parents came from the islands and where we're at right now, I really want to, I think there's a great opportunity to really go back to promoting the culture on there. And actually, you see The Rock doing it on there, but, I mean, actually promoting stuff that was like the thing to have or the thing to be growing up, in time like that. Cause, you talk about, memorabilia and things like that and nostalgia and stuff like that. I think that's, it's good to have nostalgic stuff about stuff that's personal to us or, that we can relate to back in there. So the whole purpose for Mr. FOB is to build a chain of things that were things that we can say, man, I remember that, remember that, remember that. So there's going to be a series for Mr. FOB going into the future, stuff like that is the goal for Bird.
You guys remember those Tongan Power, Hawaiian Power,
Yeah,
those old school shirts, dude?
the Joanne ones that Oldie's name or whoever used to sell at that store on the corner. Everyone used to sell.
Look sure.
Bro,
Those were the shirts to have, man. You know what I mean? But everyone, if you those cool, you know what I mean? The puka neck, the puka shell necklaces, and the white shell. I think Tech used to have one, but his was a choker.
it was
And he showed up to the
or
dance,
hella tight.
the hecta tie, right? And then he'd have the aloha on and stuff like that. So
It was
But
just
yeah.
tight because he used to wear it as a belly button ring when he would go do his night job.
Oh my gosh. But man, yeah, all that nostalgia is coming back, man. Shoot, do whatever you're doing, especially do not stop and just ramp it up even more. But first of all, get our equipment to us first, get us some gear. So we rock it, man. I want to rock this thing everywhere. And send a care package to Australia too.
We gotta take care of the peoples in Australia.
100%. Shout out to Australia for
Oh,
listening.
Takangalu.
Yeah, man, this is great. How you guys doing on time? I could stay here and talk forever, but I don't want to. I know you guys been putting in some
I
work.
just got done sorting a crazy break, bro. I wanted, but I was like determined. My wife's like, "You gonna go to bed?" I was like, sure." I threw the headphones in. I was like, "I gotta hop on, man. I want to know more about this."
Yeah, that's
The metaverse is coming, man.
yeah.
Whether we like it or not, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I don't want all of it. I just want a nice piece with extra crust, on the pie.
Yeah. Well, we was talking about that earlier. Is that we're practically there because we could all be sitting in the same room and we'll all just be staring at our phones. Not
Oh
even
yeah, pretty
talking to
much
each
for
other.
sure.
All we need is just the virtual glasses. We'll all be there together.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
yeah, we were talking about it, and like Jake was saying about the kava farm and stuff like that, buying real estate in the metaverse, right? And actually having people come and visit and stuff like that. And we talked about someone going in the metaverse to your kava farm, ordering a bag of kava, and then actually having that order kicked to the real world, and then shipping out a kava bag to someone that ordered it with it. But that would, when you talked about Notice, when you talked about being able to hang out with your friends all over the place and have a mix and stuff like that. Maybe in the metaverse, if you build your own kava bar, maybe the app or the equipment's there in the business. So it's like you guys in different states, but maybe it feels like you're in the same room on there. So I think it's going to be crazy with what we can be able to do with metaverse.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Let's get it, man. Let's go. Let's just keep on finding out information about it and just sharing it and getting it down.
The thing would be how to get real estate in the metaverse.
Oh, owning virtual
land. So if people want to put their kava bar or their whatever store on that virtual property, they got to come to you and buy it from you, or lease it from you. So that's virtual reality.
Yeah, that's
real
wild.
estate.
Yeah.
We just got to find the most popular platform, like where everybody's going to go, right?
Mhm.
So, maybe Kava in and of itself could make it popular too, so depending on how many platforms, that we can, where we can go and how that develops, that's all going to be crazy trying to figure that out and go. But, you'd want a good quality one that has good audio. I think those are the keys on those ones. So you can have, because the music, the ambiance, but let's say you own, whatever the most popular platform is, and you own that land, and then somebody else could develop the idea there, or you own the kava bar, and then they can lease a room, right, where they have their mix at. So just different things, different ideas.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. One thing I was also thinking about too when we were talking about that is, so in the metaverse, you probably have an avatar. So in that avatar, just like on Grand Theft Auto, are they going to make it to where it requires that you have to feed that avatar like in real life? So you have to Jack in the Box and spend money to actually exist. And if you don't, your avatar dies, and so you don't exist in the metaverse, right? So it's like, dang, And so we were just, it's so crazy, like what it could be, you know what I mean? But definitely some cool stuff.
Never thought about that. That's very super interesting to think about. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez. Now we have
Talk about
to
rabbit
survive
holes.
in real life and then make this fool survive in the virtual world.
Yeah, and that's
man.
You go back to the board ape, right? It's like, and we talked about gaming, like people being, oh, it's that guy, it's that, that person. And so, when you're part of the board ape club, and you're like the top person in this metaverse, because you have these, these skins, and you're part of this club on there. You know what I mean? Maybe it's so big that that's where you want to live, and people want to live, and maybe, maybe if you're something there, it affords you privileges in real life, right? Just like a real game, it's like you get real prizes on it, on and real benefits on this side from it too. I don't know, it's going to be super weird.
Well, I know they developed that glove. There's a haptic glove that they already developed. You see that, where it senses, like you wear this glove and it'll sense a touch or something. You'll be able to feel like tangible feelings in your hands when you wear this glove for when you're in the metaverse, right? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, it's super crazy. I was watching that, and it's super interesting. So, yeah, so like if you're walking around in the metaverse, right? And so like right here in the real world, if I grab this cup, I can feel it with my the sensors and feelings in my hand. Well, with the glove, you can pick this up in the virtual world in metaverse and feel the same thing. And that's what's going to be interesting too, because then hands eventually change the full body suits and head and everything like that. So it's going to be like a big great simulator, which could be great for certain things, you know what I mean? Like they have for pilots that fly planes, they have airplane simulators that are very real like on there. So I don't know, maybe you can, you know I don't know, it's weird because you wonder what they can do for sports trainings and things like that,
Even medical stuff.
medical stuff, right? Doing heart surgeries and you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or
man.
even if you wanted to test drive a Tesla.
Hmm.
Yeah, virtual test drives, virtual brakes.
Oh, virtual breaks. Oh my gosh. It's endless, man.
It's endless.
Imagine if you did a virtual break and everyone, like poker table, everyone's sitting there watching it, and you get your cars and I get all my cars and it comes in front of me, and all I do is I'm part of that. I'm part of that break, and let's say it's a basketball, and I'm at the card house, and I got the Lakers, and he gives me all my Lakers cards, and all I have to do in the virtual world is touch it, and they automatically syncs to my wallet.
Mm.
That's it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like now it's saved, and then I'll say, cool, I'm done with this break. I'm gonna go to the next one. And I'm gonna go put in for that break on there, and it just automatically goes into your wallet. So if I want to go and trade and sell at your um, you know, your eBay accounts and stuff like that to it. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot for stuff to be more fluid.
Absolutely. Crazy, man.
Yeah, more. It seems like it's more convenient because now you don't have to have space for it in your house or anything. Everything's just in your phone.
Yeah.
Yep. Gary Vee even mentioned like maybe even in the future people will they're not going to look at your resume, they're going to look at what you own in your virtual wallet to see if they're going to hire you or not. So you have a bunch of crazy stuff in there and they'll be like, "Nah, psych. There's too many apes and stuff."
So that'll pretty much be like your new credit score.
Yeah. Because
Whatever.
imagine if you can't buy certain stuff unless you were part of a certain club, right?
Yeah.
So like it's like you want to go, it's gonna be class, right?
Yeah.
So like it's probably mostly bigger class that's on there. So, but maybe if Ferrari comes out with a new car, the only people that can buy it are certain people from a certain club.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Oh.
But if you can buy it, can you say like I'm part of that club and I buy one? Could I sell it to people that are not in the club?
That'll be the question.
Yeah.
Probably.
And it would probably be worth a lot because there's only a handful because only people in that club have them.
Mm. Maybe depending on the rules of the club. Like if you're in this club, you can't sell this NFT
Yeah.
to,
Like,
maybe
I
who
guess
knows?
who knows? Sky's the limit. Like Spencer was saying, it's all brand new, so everybody's just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah. And you know what I hope that doesn't happen is that the freaking government don't try to stick their hands into this. I mean, let the free market operate freely. You know what I'm saying? Once they stick their hands in this, or I don't even know, maybe they already have stuck their hands in this, or they're trying to regulate stuff for this, I don't know, virtual world.
Nah, I think they're trying to find a way though.
Hmm. We need to keep them
Eventually.
out of it.
The good thing is they don't understand it yet, so they don't really understand the crypto space either. As from a, you know, the people running our country aren't, that none of them I would say are crypto experts in any way. they do maybe want some control, but they don't understand. They don't understand at all. You know, we have far more knowledge as a whole, you know, in our little group than they do.
So if they don't understand, they don't know how to control it.
It's
Yeah,
going to
and
be
then
really it's going to be really hard. It's decentralized concept, right? So it's just going to be very hard for them to find a way to do that. They're going to try, you know, through regulation or some other things, right? But really with NFT though, it'd be I, you know, this isn't my space of expertise, but it's going to be so hard for them. It's essentially like art. Like what you're creating is art. So, you know, can they how can they monitor or restrict that, you know? Maybe they
Yeah.
create a tax on NFTs, maybe they try and do something like that, but
well, they
um
don't they already tax like really wealthy art pieces? Don't they? I watched an episode of Billions, and I remember Homeboy was trying to pawn off some art pieces so that he wouldn't get taxed or something. So I know they already have their hands in the art, like the physical art world. Like here, I know they tax the hell out of people if they don't report the something with the value of the art. So something like this for their taxes or something to get tax breaks. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they say it's the art is like the easiest way to wash money
Mm.
because what you pay for art is objective, right? So it's like you can pay whatever you want, right? Like just like right now, we talked about those pegs, right? Those pegs art, and it's like, man, it's not that crazy. It's not like a Van Gogh. It's not a, it's not like a, like these, it's not really old, and it's not, and it's not a really good art piece. It's someone that can create on a computer here right now, but how is people paying a couple hundred thousands, 500,000, $1 million for that on there? And so, um, that's the thing with art is it's easy to, you can't really track it. No one can really put you in there because it's worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
Which leads me to my next question is, will there be a black market version of these NFTs? Will there eventually be something developed in the black market?
I mean, I'm sure there's always going to be, with good, there's always going to be a bad. There's going to be room somewhere. But I think the question is going to be like, how do they fit how does the black market even thrive if everything's tracked digitally? What can you steal unless someone's able to hack that art from an actual owner and sell it to someone else, and then and then it's just gonna have to stay in the black market forever.
Very interesting. This is such a super interesting topic because it's going to affect our lives eventually, like a lot. We might have to pay our power bills with NFTs or log into a metaverse to pay our power bills. I know Seoul, Korea is becoming the first like legit city to be like engulfed into the metaverse. Did you guys hear about that? Seoul, Korea is the first actual city that is going to be like you can log onto there virtually and pay, like take a tour, go to court, pay your bills. They're the first city to do this in the real world. So we're not too far behind. I follow the mayor of Reno. Her name is Hillary Shivi, and she tweeted that out that Korea was the first actual city. I forget which city. I think it's Seoul. I'm pretty sure it's Seoul.
Yeah, and they actually said by 2023. And it looks like, and that's the thing is, you can use this. The metaverse can be really anything, right? These rooms, and you know what I mean. What if you created a metaverse that's an island, and you can put, all your family there or whatever? But it looks like that they wanted to use this to launch this off so that citizens that have any issues can meet with their avatar and meet with actual elected officials about issues with it. So that's you know what I mean. And that's the thing with the market is if you have a product that solves a problem like this, like, hey, I can't reach, you know what I mean, if it works and everyone likes it, yeah, eventually everyone's gonna want to do that on there. But how cool would that be that if you had any questions and you don't know who's elected in your county or whatever, your school district, to be able to just like jump into the metaverse and go to that person, and then maybe when you go and knock on their door, it rings them, they just put on their headset and they're like, hey, what's up? And you're like, oh, and you go through those issues. That's pretty crazy. It reminds me of that movie. Do you guys know what that movie's called? Where is it Sylvester Stallone that gets stuck in ice and they bring him back and he's with Sandra Bullock?
No, I don't recall that one.
Yeah, he's
I
like
haven't heard
free.
of them.
I mean, it's like he goes into the future and stuff like that. I got to figure it out, but it reminds me similar to that.
Yeah, they're already starting to do this in Korea.
Crazy.
Yeah,
those
that's crazy.
Koreans, man.
Usually the Koreans are the ones that usually they cop things from everyone else and implement it, but no, they're at the forefront of this whole metaverse thing. Maybe they got billions of dollars donated by Mark Zuckerberg to be the first city.
It's Demolition Man, by the way.
Demolition.
Yeah.
Nice. Dang, that's an old school movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it reminds me of that part where she wants to hook up with him, and so he puts on like the little headset and stuff, and it throws him off. And he's like, "What the heck? This is super weird."
Yeah, I can see how convenient that could be. You know what I think also is that this COVID thing really ramped up like all this different technology that I think that COVID really like was the catapult or the catalyst to help like advance all these different things coming out, like the metaverse, the virtual, the DoorDash, all this stuff. Maybe that's my opinion that this stupid COVID thing is in a good way, maybe.
Just anything to get you to stay home.
Ooh, get you to stay home and plug in. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, but who knows? Maybe Planet Fitness gets in the metaverse, and all you got to do is just you don't have to leave your house, jump in, and you get interactive. I mean, you see kind of it already with like Peloton and stuff like that, these virtual workout classes. But eventually it'll be just like jumping into the next room. So
yeah,
interesting.
And that's the great thing about the human capacity to learn and adapt, right? We're seeing a lot of that adaptness going on, and we're just going to keep going that way. How far eventually do we go before we end up self-destructing? That is my next question. I'm just kidding. I don't want to get dark, but man, it's amazing. Spencer, I love what you're doing. You guys want to go ahead and do we want to wrap this up?
Yeah.
Everything okay? Everything okay over there? Notice.
Yeah, I was tapping this my microphone holder thing too much, and it finally fell off.
Good stuff, Spencer. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on, man. That was great content, and we'll have to do a follow-up too.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're gonna do Big Bird's gonna do a Encouragers NFT. We'll launch it off the Big Bird IL. So you guys think about what you guys want to put on there, and I'll put some artwork together and send it back to you guys, and we'll just throw it out there. You know what I mean? And if you guys want to do it for some annual prize or something like that, and you guys want to give it away, we can give it away.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And get your something to give back to your fan base.
Man, that would be so dope. And you just made me think, why don't we have 7 different crypto, like a crypto thing that looks like Jake, one that looks like Tech, one that looks like me, one that looks like Paul, Joe, like how the crypto punks thing is.
Okay. Just send me a really good picture.
And then one together too. I think there's value in us having a together one too.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. That's like the ultimate one to chase.
Dang.
One of one.
It's like gold. It's like the gold 6-inch slammer. You know, back in the days, the plastic with the light, the skull with the light slammer, that was like the hot ones. But yeah, I think it would be cool. See, there you go.
That's what's up. Appreciate it, Spencer.
Hey, appreciate you guys.
And then can you tell everyone how to get a hold of you again? Can your social media links, everything, all that stuff?
Yeah, hey guys, just check us out at bid my card 2021 on Instagram and Facebook. That's where we do a lot of our, our interaction and show a lot of stuff we're doing. Follow us on there, and we just got some revamping to do on our website. But follow us on there, and it'll get you to anywhere you need to go to for Bidbird.
Nice. Thanks again, Spencer. Tech, you got anything to close out?
No, I'm good.
Jake, you have anything to close out on?
I'm good, sir.
Spencer, anything else you'd like to
No,
add that we might have missed?
No, I think I think we're good. Appreciate you. Appreciate having me on.
Thanks again for coming on, man. Thank you for everyone for listening, and shout out to our Australia listeners. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night, everyone.